it's going to be some conversation. Is family that important? Do you just do it because you are in love and you need a man? And do you have to do it? By all means and at all costs. Let us get into the studio, listen to her confession, and then get into the conversation. Tonight promises to be one of the most educative, informative, and entertaining. This is Confessions on TV3. We'll be right back. She is a woman who has been married and happily. She believes also in the extended family. But then she says she got desperate and she had to do it all by herself. I do not even know what she means by doing it all by herself. But she did, and she's here. And as usual, my lips are sealed, but my ears are wide open. And I will listen to her confession. My lady, you're welcome to Confessions on TV3.
Thank you very much, Miss Nancy.
Tell us your story.
So, I started seeing a man. We live in the US. And before we got married, my mommy's cousin told me that I can't be with him because he occupies this position in the community where he's not supposed to get married to any lady that already has a child. And unfortunately for me, I have a daughter.
Okay, well, fortunately for you, actually.
Okay, fortunately, sorry. I have a daughter. And I really love this man. So I had some people to be my parents, my fake parents, and family. We had the ceremony here in Ghana. My sister helped me out. So the wedding in the church, the signing of the papers in court and everything, I had help from my sister and then the hired parents here in Ghana.
So you hired a whole family?
Yes, please.
For both your traditional and your marriage ceremony?
Yes, please. And things went well. There was nothing suspicious. So my husband and I have actually been married for 5 years, happily married at that. And 3 years down the line, my father got terribly sick.
Okay.
And he was sent to the hospital, but it looks like all efforts being done there was futile.
Okay.
So being a bit traditional, my family members, some of them, did some consultations. And it came to our knowledge that something has been done in the family that shouldn't have been done. And since my father is the head of the family, he's going to take responsibility
for it.
And my mommy is also a very strong Christian. So she consulted in her pastor about it. And it looked like what he said was also similar to the consultations. Now, they've been holding family meetings over the period to find the way forward. And since
what exactly did they do? Where exactly did they go wrong that has caused them to have this unfortunate sickness in the family?
So the person that the consultations was done with didn't really disclose it.
Okay.
He rather tasked that we should find out
who has done something that is.
So that's why they were having the constant family meetings.
Okay.
To see what actually happened. And since I'm not residing in Ghana, I was exempted. 2 months ago, my company sent me on assignment here in Ghana.
Okay.
So I am currently in Ghana, and when I came, I went to see my dad, and truth be told,
you mean your birth father?
My birth father, my biological father. And truth be told, he's really suffering. He's going through pain. And deep down, I'm sad. It's really getting to me because I feel like just maybe I'm the one at fault.
Are they aware that you're married?
They have no idea.
Whoa. 5 years?
5 years. They just know that I'm seeing someone and maybe...
You are living with somebody.
Yes, but they don't know I'm married. And right now, I don't know whether to tell them about the whole setup. I mean, my sister, I told her about it and she's like, don't open up because just maybe the implications will come to both of us because I helped you.
Yeah.
And I'm also, the guilt is getting to me because right now I don't even know whether it's because of what I did that is finding my dad in the sick bed. And I wouldn't want to lose my dad and find out that it's actually because of what I did. So I'm just hoping that I can get help concerning the way forward.
My goodness. When women get desperate, they will do anything to be with the man they love. Is that the power of love? Or is it, I will have him by all means and at all costs? Is it possible that she just got married without the consent of her family, so her father is sick? Is it really possible? Or it's her own mind that is taking her on the guilt trip? People, let's go into the studio. My resource person is ready, and my studio audience, as usual, ever ready. Let's have a discussion. This is a serious one. Is family and the consent of the family, especially for marriages, that important? Yes, we are seated, my wonderful ladies and gentlemen are here, and I know we're going to have a swell time, are we not? Let me get some energy from you guys. Thank you. This is it, and this is a confession. She doesn't want anybody to know that she's a born one. She thinks that if her family gets involved in this marriage, they're going to ruin it. She's absolutely in love with this man. And so she found a fake family and she got married anyway. And she's been married for 5 years and nobody knows about it. They think that she lives with a man in the States. People, this is the confession. Yes.
Hi, Miss Nancy.
Hello.
I'm Jesse.
Hi, Jesse.
Thanks for the opportunity. Please, the lady is making a big mistake because we all know that blood is thicker than water.
Yeah.
You can't hide your family and go and fake another person or take another person as your father or mother. That's the first mistake.
It was just for an event, and the event is past. It's been 5 years and nothing happened.
What if the man find out?
Well,
Because of love.
Guess if the man finds out, it probably would make the marriage null and void because it means that he didn't get married to you from your family. So the
Yes.
whole thing is fake.
It's
If
fake.
the family is fake, the marriage itself is fake, right?
And the girl is a liar.
Ha. Yes, Harry.
Hello, Miss Nancy. I'm Harry. I don't know. First of all, I don't know what she was thinking. I don't know what she was thinking. And what if something happens to you, and it's your family that has to come get you?
Her sister is aware.
Her
In
sister.
fact, her sister was
Can her
part
sister
of the
alone
plan.
solve all the problems?
Imagine, just imagine, I'm a woman too, that you had a child with this irresponsible man and you have probably catered for your child all your life by yourself, and you get an opportunity to be with another man that makes you feel like a queen, and just because you had a child out of wedlock,
And
you are going to lose that great opportunity.
But the man didn't tell her that he doesn't want a born one lady or something.
The
man didn't say that.
traditional setup of the man does not allow him
Wow.
to marry a woman with a child.
Then she should have even get herself involved in that. Because as a matter of fact, there's nothing hidden under the sun. Definitely the man will surely find out one day. And what happens after then?
If you loved me for real,
Yeah.
isn't it said that love me, love my dog? Why would you leave me just because you found out that I have a mini-me?
Well, because you lied. You should have let me know before.
Are lies grounds for marriage divorces or annulments? Can somebody just say that, oh, he lied, and so I do not want to be with him anymore? She lied, and so this marriage is over? Can you just get away because your partner lied? These and more coming up when my great counselor joins me right here in the studio. Mr. Oguchuku Oga, I affectionately call him. He is a lawyer, he is a lecturer, a man with a deep head. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ogo.
so good to see
Yeah,
you.
it is, absolutely.
Hey guys,
Thank
greetings.
you. It's you.
Wow.
Good one. Yes, and the wonderful man just joined us in the studio, Ogu. I affectionately call him. He's a lawyer and he's a lecturer, a man with a deep head, I always tell you. Ogu, you were missed.
Thank you so much.
And it's good to have you on the show again.
It's wonderful to be here again. It's so good to see you. You're looking so well.
Oh,
and
my.
beautiful.
People, some love. Thank you.
I brought something for you.
Oh,
Yes,
gentlemen, they always come bearing gifts.
That's my latest
Finding
book.
solutions to disrespect and abuse in African marriages.
Yes, ma'am.
I love the fact that it's tailored for African marriages.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
I will make good use of it, and my viewers would know that I added on to my knowledge when it comes to love and marriages. But give it up for him, give it up for him.
Thank you.
Oga is welcome, and I would want him to take a look at the confession. This is the story of the young woman and what she did. Let's take a look.
I started seeing a man. We live in the US. And before we got married, my mommy's cousin told me that I can't be with him because he occupies this position in the community where he's not supposed to get married to any lady that already has a child. I have a daughter. And I really love this man. So I had some people to be my parents, my fake parents, and family. We had the ceremony here in Ghana. My sister helped me out. So my husband and I have actually been married for 5 years, happily married at that. And 3 years down the line, my father got terribly sick.
Okay.
And he was sent to the hospital, but it looks like all efforts being done there was futile.
Okay.
So, being a bit traditional, my family members, some of them, did some consultations. And it came to our knowledge that something has been done in the family that shouldn't have been done. And since my father is the head of the family, he's going to take responsibility. When I came, I went to see my dad, and truth be told, he's really suffering. He's going through pain. And deep down, I'm sad. It's really getting to me because I feel like just maybe I'm the one at fault.
Are they aware that you're married?
They have no idea.
Whoa.
They
5
just-
years.
5 years.
Yes, so we commenced the conversation right here with Ogu. Ogu, how important is our family, especially our extended family?
Wow. There's no other way to say it. Family is just so important. Family is the beginning and the end of every one of us. You know, we step out from the family, we become whatever it is based on the support and the foundation that is laid in the family. Especially from an African perspective, we take family very seriously. You know, and the values, the culture, the standards that we are raised by is all a function of family. And everybody that comes from a family has a role that he or she must play.
In the family.
In the family. And so if you walk away from that responsibility, you create a vacuum. Not just something that is going to affect your family, but something that also ends up affecting you. One way or another, it catches up with all of us. It does.
I mean, I thought that we were in a quote-unquote a civilized world when it's mommy, daddy, and children. That's just essential. And you forget about everybody because you realize that these days, the times when we used to spend the holidays, the Christmases and the Easters and the festivals with our grandparents and our granduncles and all of them, and we enjoyed big family.
Yeah.
It's almost over.
It's almost over, sadly, you know, and it's something that I'm hoping that we could bring back. And of course, you know, with conversations like this, perhaps we'll be able to point to how important, you know, the family unit is. Now, tradition is so important. And it's not just about what happens in your village. You know, the moment you mention tradition, custom, culture, people think about the village, you know, but they don't realize that tradition is actually about the pillars that guide us in our lives, that tell us what we can and cannot do. tell us who we are and what we are not, and how we should live our lives, the realities that we must face. I mean, think about the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. Imagine, it was all about family.
Yes.
You know, culture, custom,
And their
tradition.
traditions.
Absolutely.
Some we never thought existed for the whites.
Absolutely. We didn't know, you know, because this kind of events happen once in a lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
And we saw it manifest. And it's a lesson to Africans, you know, when you want to imbibe the culture of another society and say some of these things don't matter, you know, it does matter in
It
the
does
African
matter.
society.
It does.
Matter.
It does matter. And I'm glad that we brought this up.
Absolutely.
When it comes to marriage itself,
Yep.
how important is the family, their consent, their support, their blessing? How important is that?
You know, there's an African proverb that says that a man without a root is like a zebra without stripes or a leopard without spots. It's very important. Now, you know that in the African society, marriage is not a union between two people that profess love to each other. It's a union between two families. And some of the times, two communities.
Yes.
And so your family has a say in who comes into your life, because it's not just about you, it's about them
The whole
as well.
family.
Yes.
You're going to procreate, and your
Absolutely.
children are part of both of us.
Absolutely, and you have to carry on a legacy. And so it's important to them that they know that whoever it is that is coming into your life is capable of supporting you to fulfill the responsibility you have in your family.
In your family.
You know, and so when you overlook that and say it doesn't matter, it catches up with you somewhere along the line. And that is one challenge that a lot of people are having. Now, you know, when church started coming in, a lot of people tried to escape this responsibility.
The family one.
Yes,
And just go to the church.
Absolutely. They were using the church to do it, but they have also come to realize that
Now the churches are saying that if your family
absolutely,
are not in support of this, we are not going to allow
Absolutely.
it. So you would need the consent of your family. People from the family should go to the church and let
Yes.
them know that we have agreed to this union. So you can
Absolutely.
go ahead with whichever process there is.
Absolutely. You know, and especially young people must understand why these things happen. You know, people have got to know and be with their kind. You know, and once you miss it, it's like traveling to Aflao, but you're on the Kumasi Road.
You are lost.
Completely. And while you're lost, you're still on a journey.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to experience everything you would have ordinarily experienced if you're on
On
that
the
flower
way
road.
to
Absolutely.
Aflao.
You might even fall in love.
Yeah, you may. You may. So it's a journey.
It is.
Whether to Aflao or Kumasi, you are still on the road.
Absolutely.
But you are just lost.
Yes.
Eventually, you end up nowhere.
Nowhere. And the struggles, the burden, the confusion that you have to deal with without even knowing where it's coming from. You know, you run from one church to another asking pastors to pray for you. They finish and the solution still doesn't come because you're on the wrong path. You know, you're on the wrong path, and that messes up everything.
Let us talk about women with children.
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful, decent women.
Yes.
Enterprising women.
Yes.
Women with plans and purposes, trying to fulfill destiny.
Yes,
Along the line, they meet a boy or a man who says the sweetest things to them.
Yeah.
They give their bodies to him along with their minds and their hearts. Yes, they do.
Yes.
And then they have to bear the consequences of their actions.
Yes, ma'am.
And the man would say that, yes, I loved you, but to a certain extent, I don't love you till death. I cannot find life with you. Sometimes it's even the women that come to the conclusion that, yes, I loved you, but this is not good.
No,
we cannot be together.
Absolutely.
And still, I love my child. I have a girl child or a boy child. Sometimes if you are double blessed, you even get twins. Twins out
True.
of wedlock.
That is
Double
so
the
true.
joy, double the trouble.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, a man is, many years later, I meet a man who adores me and says, Miss Nancy, because you have a child out of wedlock, I cannot be with you. Or a family says, this woman is not worthy of our son because she got pregnant and she took responsibility for her actions and she kept the pregnancy and is living a decent life. She probably is not even a single mother that somebody is taking care of. She's a mother and in charge and in control for herself and even her child. And yet, the society, the family will frown on a woman with a child out of wedlock. Yet, she made it with another man.
It's a big one. But first, I would like to applaud every woman that decided not to abort the pregnancy.
People?
You know, it is so important. And for some reason, because of the indoctrinations we have experienced and the mixture of information, many Africans do not understand what it means to be African any longer and do not even understand what the tenets of our lives and our society are. The first thing is that in the African society, there is no such thing as an illegitimate child. There is no such thing as a bastard. And so when a woman has a child out of wedlock, it doesn't make her less than human. And it doesn't make that child less than human. Africans need to go back to where they are coming from and learn this one more time. The only challenge is that there are certain life realities that come with the choices we make.
Indeed.
We can't run away from it.
No.
You know, I mean, I refer again to the English, okay? When you're divorced and you're a prince, it's very unlikely
For you to become a king.
for you to become a king. Because of what you're meant to inherit, there are certain privileges you cannot enjoy.
Yeah.
And there are other privileges that are available to you.
To you.
And that's what happens with a woman that has had a child. You know, you still can find love. Love can find you. You will live a very fulfilled life, but it might not be all the way as you want it. And quite frankly, Miss Nancy, there is nobody on the face of this earth that gets everything that he or she wants. Nobody.
Oh, I love that.
Nobody.
You will definitely not get everything that you want or even need under the sun.
Absolutely.
It is one of the mysteries of this life. This is Confessions on TV3. Let me take this break. When I come back, we get to talk more. Yes, it's interesting right here. We have been talking to Ogu, and then the studio audience are equally excited, and they have other things they would want to share with us. Yes, my lady.
Hello, Miss Nancy. I'm
Hi.
Sally.
Your name is?
Sally.
Hi, Sally.
Yeah, hello.
Good to
Alright,
have
so
you.
one advice I want to tell her is that she has already created a mess. So right now, the advice I'll give it to her is for her to talk to her sister so that they'll schedule a meeting with their mommy and talk to her. They can't bring her daddy into this because he's not feeling well.
One.
If care is not taken, they might lose him.
Yes.
So they should talk to the mommy. And I know mothers have this special something, and she'll find a way to forgive her. Then they'll take it from there. Yeah.
Yes. Perfect, perfect. Mothers, we always have the solutions, don't we? Yes, my dear.
Yeah, Miss Nancy, my name is Abednego. This story really touched me because it's more or less like you are hitting me on the heart. And today I'll use this opportunity to tell these two sisters of mine, Ekwi and Evek, go back home and do the right thing. I'm done.
Thank you.
Wow.
He says that they should go back home and do the right thing. Oga?
It's not that easy. Of course, we can't hold brief for her. The mistake
Going
has
back
been
home,
made.
what should they do? What are some of the steps that they can take?
Fortunately for them, there are two very strong support systems involved here.
Yes.
There's the family unit and then there's the church. Okay, so her mother is a staunch church member and so can involve the church. Now, with the African setting, when there's a problem, there's a way you go about solving it. So you don't just get up and go and say, Mom, we want to talk to you and all of that. You know, That's why you have elders in the family.
In the family, in the society.
There is no problem that cannot be solved in the African society.
In Chi, we say, "Assembly and why this kind of nature, yeah, they are not neka."
The tree just falls out so nicely
know,
out of
right?
your mouth, man. You have no idea. You know, so they need to be able to speak with an uncle or an aunt, but someone that's going to sit down, receive all the information, and then tell them the steps they need to follow to be able to deal with it.
Yes.
The church will also do the same
Okay.
because it can be solved. Now, that's one part of it. The second part of it, which is also a terrible mistake, was that she never gave her husband the opportunity to make a choice. There are so many people that know what the inheritance is, but they will say, I'll rather choose this path and let the inheritance go. Let somebody else take that responsibility. Since I do not qualify because of the kind of woman I have chosen to marry. She didn't give him that opportunity, and that was a mistake. It shows
She probably may have been disappointed.
Yes.
I love you, but my parents, they go in, they have all the fun, she invests time, energy, her
Absolutely.
heart. And he says that because you have a child, my mom would not support this. And
Yes.
just let's go of you.
Yes, but that is one side of the coin. And that's why we always encourage people to look at it from both ways, you know, especially when you know that there will be consequences in the future. There are some things, you can't avoid this. It's going to catch up with you. It's just a matter of time. Let us even assume the father did not fall sick and she is having this struggle in her heart. Let us just imagine that it never happened, but one time your parents want to visit you in the US. The man's family, they want to connect with you. And then you're saying, my father has traveled, my mother, you know, you lie so
Can you
many times.
imagine a lifetime of lies?
You can't keep up with it. You can't. And so it was a terrible move. And of course, when you're young, you know, you don't think so straight.
When it's a love thing, Oga, we cease to think critically
Yes.
and we cease to analyze
Absolutely.
the consequences of our actions.
Absolutely. And that's why I say to people that, man, love is not blind. People that fall in love just suddenly get too hasty.
Okay.
You know,
but
and
love is not blind.
No,
huh?
love is not blind. We gotta think. You know,
No, I mean, love is blind is perfect for us so that we can hide behind the saying and make mistakes and say, oh, I was so
Absolutely.
in love, I couldn't see well.
Absolutely. You know, and my other challenge would have to do with the guy's family. They've not been in the know. They've not known the truth all this while. They don't know what's going on. You know, so this family, when the arrangements are made, will now have to visit his family and let him know. You know, so it's important to tell him he has been in a marriage where he's not been allowed to make choices.
What if he says that, I'm sorry, then you are no longer my choice?
It will not be that easy for him. They have kids as
Five-
well.
5 years.
And it's been 5 years of investment. You know, it doesn't just happen that.
Like that.
He might, it's possible that he will just say, you know what, what's done is done. Let's find a way to move on. Of course, he will need time to heal. He will need time to heal. It might take a month, 6 months, a whole year. He will need time to heal. But all these corrections are going to factor into how this thing ends up.
My lady, are you there?
Yes, Miss Nancy.
Are you good?
Yes, please.
Now, let's talk about how do you think, how did you know that your dad got sick in connection with what you did 5 years ago?
Well, Miss Nancy, I speak to my sister regularly. And
Yeah.
it's not that I know for sure that it's because of what I did, but there's this feeling I have inside that keeps telling me that just maybe there's a link with what I did some years ago and what my dad is going through.
Okay, Oga,
Wow.
you need to help us with this one.
Yeah.
Is it possible that just because she left her family out of the marriage, her father is actually sick? Or she's just being, it's her guilt taking her on a trip? Or she's just being unhealthily superstitious?
It is possible that it is her guilt. But you know, from the story as well, she's talked about some consultations that were done.
Yes.
And one was from an oracle, as it is called.
Yes.
And
the other was from a prophet.
From a prophet. And they are pointing to
The same thing.
same thing. It is possible. And these things actually do happen.
They
in
do.
Yes, in the scriptures, we had situations like that. You know,
A gentle
and
reminder.
So you remember, I think it's First Samuel chapter 11. You remember Uzzah, the guy that came to steady the ark. You know,
Yes.
He was doing a good thing,
Yes.
but he died for
He
it.
died.
And when he died, the story was, you know, at some point David found out that the way they were carrying the ark was wrong. And so he needed to, and it cost somebody's life.
Yes.
So something that looks so unconnected, so insignificant, can actually point you to challenges that you never imagined.
Oh, people. Oh.
You know, and so these things are true. They are very true.
You make a choice, you make a decision, and somebody you love have to bear the consequences for it. That is so not fair. But is life ever fair with us? Let us go to the streets and listen to what other people had to say about this woman that says that I love him, I cannot let go of him, he's my last stop, and so I will fake it. She faked it, but did she make it? They say fake it till you make it. Let's go to the streets and see what they had to say.
So for a typical Ghanaian, when it comes to marriage, we are looking at not individuals, but a family. So the family plays a very critical role. And the issue is not just about a hide parent, but your biological, because they have taken care of you, and they are the people that will bear the responsibility if there is anything wrong in the marriage. So I think the lady should have understood the cultural setting of this issue and approach the parents. At least they should be in the known so they can offer their guidance. And for the sickness aspect, I think that as Africans, we believe in the spiritual world very much. So these are implications, and when you act against a particular cultural setting, you expect that there will be feedback. And one of the feedback is what the father is going through. So what I will advise her is that she has already committed the first crime by concealing the whole marriage idea from the family. She shouldn't do a second offense by watching the father as he dies. So I'll advise that she quickly makes amends, talks to the father, explain things that initially I knew that once I exposed this particular aspect of the marriage to you, there was no way we were going to accept this man. That was why I did what I did. And then I believe that the father, in that state of sickness, will understand and forgive her.
In this part of our world, we know how families are important to us. If you are doing something and your family members are part, it's really authentic. So you going in and hiring people to act, it's a whole drama you've entered into, and you are totally on your own. When you die right now, the people you paid to act as your parents, where would they be? And the deception that came along with it alone is so selfish. You don't have to deceive anyone. Because you wanted it, you have to get it by all means, by paying. Come on. These things does not work that way. You just have to own up to save your father's life.
Generally.
Thank you. We are back in the studio, and this is Confessions on TV3. You heard what the streets had to say, but the studio is still hot. People have advice, people have suggestions, people. Yes, let me go to you, Praises.
Hello, Miss Nicey.
Hi.
The story is so touching. But always I try to consider where an importance have not been placed. I try to see if I can make life out of that. Yeah, so considering the lady's issue, I think the harm is already been done. Actually, she did that because of love, and she needed the man. And I'm sure that after everything, this lady did not go and do or abuse the marriage. She was focused, all right, except that the guilty conscience, what she did, that to the point that she thought that probably that is why the father is sick. Look at that. And sometimes a mistake is like a balloon. If you try to suppress it under water, it cannot. It will surely comes back. Yeah, so this is what we are seeing now. So my advice goes to the lady that, fine, she loves the gentleman, the gentleman also loves her. So she should tell the truth that, darling, it's because I love you. And then she should also not forget to pray and admit her
If your
fault.
wife told you that the family that you married me into, you thought you were marrying into a family that is not really my family.
No matter
Praises,
what.
would you forgive?
Yes, I can forgive.
Oga, is this
Based
marriage
upon
No,
solid?
it's not marriage even. So it won't even be a divorce that they'll be looking for.
It's
They'll
an
be going for
annulment.
an annulment. Yes, because in the eyes of the law, marriage is a contract. And once a contract is achieved through a misrepresentation, which is what is going on here, then it doesn't even stand.
So
It's
to
void.
start with, she didn't even accomplish anything.
Yes. At the end of the day. So technically, they're actually not married.
Miss Nancy,
Yes, Clark? Well, I mean, in this case, her sister was part of it. So if her sister did, I do not know if her sister signed as well as a witness.
No, the challenge here is the weight of her sister's involvement. You know, it has no weight, as it were. It wasn't for her sister to give her out.
It is not for her to give her out.
No.
And so even her involvement is equally.
No.
yeah,
Yes.
Miss Nancy,
I love you.
this is one of the strongest stories on confessions.
Yeah.
But we'll try to help. Okay, so I am going to go on the background of family and tradition. In our setting, African setting, there's no way you can give out a male or a female in a marriage where the two families haven't met. That is something that we always have to remember. The gentleman that got married to the lady also made a huge mistake. We have not looked at that side. We were just talking about the lady's
The
side.
lady.
Why is it that you want to get married to a lady and you not allow your brother, your mother, your uncle, your father, your family members to visit as it is required in the African setting marital
Oh, Kwawari
what
Ebisa.
I say? Oh, Kwawari Ebisa. Ain't you know, you didn't allow your family to visit them to go and do the search that we heard years back our people were doing. Now, you just go ahead and get married. And let's look at this. We are saying if there's a child, you cannot get married to a certain lady. What if there are so many things now in the world? There are cults, there are associations, there are political positions, there are job positions, certain things that you cannot do, or you when you have this kind of children, a woman with one child coming to marry you, it's a problem. Do you know that if the man is in a certain society or cult or association, it will even affect him either by his job, because maybe the lady was looking at the wealth, the handsomeness of the gentleman and all that. Aside of that, let's come to the sister who also went in and supported hiring people. This thing is being down. Nowadays, it is common.
It is there. That is why Mr.
This is
Mr.
the
Nowadays,
story.
it is
This a
common. It
story.
is there.
A real one.
So
here.
let's advise our brothers and sisters out there. They should desist from it.
Mr. Clark,
We are Africans.
please, I disagree with the point where you are blaming the man.
No,
because the lady presented she actually presented somebody.
See, let's
so
say,
why are you blaming the lady?
No,
I mean, the
my
man.
brother, in a marriage, when I'm going to get married, what I do is that I go after having that kind of 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years relationship with the woman. Now I have to go to my family and tell them I found a lady. Traditionally, this is what in Ghana, let's forget about everywhere. In Ghana, you have to send people from your family's background to go and check. That is why we say, Nanam Pedu sang a song, Upe uwa obewu, Upe amani a obenya. Se no ababa wana, Bema no mpo na met makase, Ono no penny wo. That is why he has fallen into the pit.
Thank you.
The man has fallen into the pit because he didn't do his background check.
As much as we're calling for us to go back and revisit some of our traditional norms and principles and reapply them, can we call for some of them to be abolished too? At what point would you say that just because a woman had a child out of wedlock, she's not worthy of a certain man, she's not worthy of a certain position? Just because a man is not married, he's not worthy of a certain position? So, can't we abolish those two?
Well, the truth of the matter is that every society has a standard that it goes by. And like I was saying, there is nobody that can have it all. Nobody.
Yeah.
You know, so this is reality. And it's interesting that he brought it up because it's part of what I discussed in the book. There's actually a chapter dedicated to what I call marriage by ambush.
Marriage by ambush.
Yes, and that's what happens with a lot of people that live abroad. You know, especially when they're trying to hide something. You know, when they try to use the church and it's not working, they just come in and they say, oh, I have just 3 days, I have just 4 days. We need to do it quickly and go back and things like that. So the family is compelled to join them without doing the needful. And it is also a call to families to make sure that no matter the kind of pressure these children put on them, do the needful.
Due diligence.
Do your due diligence. It's so important. Because had the family, like Alafia was saying, had the family done the needful, this would not even have come this far.
Yeah, and Miss Nancy,
Let me take this break, and I will take it with you knowing that as a family, you have a responsibility to investigate the spouse-to-be of your child or your son or daughter-in-law. It is essential. You need to do this, not just for yourself, but for your children too. We'll be right back. In all of this, there is that group, that old man and old woman, that supposed fake uncle and aunties that dressed up to stand in the stead of this woman's biological parents to take everything that is due her biological parents, standing in as fake parents. How do we have a society like this?
You can find anything in society. It's sad, but it's happening. And the money is good.
The money.
And so when people want to do marriage by ambush, they will do whatever it takes, you know, to make it happen. And that's what happened at this situation.
I have seen people fake sicknesses in church to get healed, I mean, for miraculous purposes.
Absolutely.
I didn't know people would actually fake it and be the bride's groom or mother. They were dancing at the wedding.
It's actually happening.
8.
It's just that in her own case, it's led to this. And maybe a lot of people will learn, you know, a very important lesson from this.
I hope
You
they
know,
do.
Yes, it's happening and people are cashing out very seriously.
My goodness. My lady, are you good? Hello?
Hello, Miss Nancy.
Are you good?
Yes, please.
Have you been helped?
Yes, please.
What do you intend to do?
I think I'll go with what Counselor said. I need to speak to the elders and get them to understand the gravity of what I did so that they can disclose it to my family.
Are you not talking to your husband first?
Absolutely.
Miss Nancy, I want to deal with my family first.
Your father's sickness is of essence here, yeah?
Yes, please.
It makes a lot of sense. It's a life that is involved, so that life needs to be saved, and then we move on to whether this marriage would keep or not. Yes, let me take our last word. Yes, Alafia, I hope you make it small.
I want to ask my sister. This is a very good husband. They've been living in America. Now, this husband wants to build an edifice for the girl's family and also buy them one of the best flashy cars. who is she going to advise that takes the house and the car?
That is a question I think is for the gods. Not for her. So we will move on. So this is just to say that when you're taking such decisions, consider all of these. Some way, somehow, it will catch up to you.
Yeah.
Our last words from Ogu, and we'll be out of here. Oga, this is an interesting story.
It is.
And a good confession. She needed to get it out of her chest.
Absolutely, and I'm really hoping that we've been able to help her.
She says.
You know, but the message to every other person, you know, that is watching and will come in contact with this video is to remember that these things happen. They'll catch up with you if you don't do the right thing. And it is not peculiar to the African society, because some people will, you know, in the spirit of fundamental human rights, right to association and all of that, say, oh, we are too backward, we need to change it. Some time ago, I think it was Prince Edward or Prince William, I don't remember his name, you know, readily, but he had to abdicate the throne.
Yes.
Because he chose to marry a divorcee.
So when you make a choice, be ready for the
consequences. And it's not peculiar to the African society. It happens everywhere in the world.
Now you can make the choice. You can get whatever you want. Just be ready to live with the profits of your actions. This has been a very wonderful edition of Confessions, and trust you me, I have learned a thing or two from her story. Now I know that eloping with the man I love is not happening. I'd have to go back to my family and make sure that they love him too. People, the end. Same time next week, Confessions come your way.